I'm Bill Robinson. I'm the Hazard Mitigation Plan Program Coordinator for the City of Tulsa. And we've just started working on a post-disaster recovery plan so that when the next disaster strikes, that we can build back better. Steve could probably talk to this some because they did kind of after the disaster, they enforced codes to where they'll build back with higher wind standards on their residential construction. What we're facing is a lot of resistance from like the Home Builders Association and Developers Council for trying to enforce or implement stronger building codes. And I'm wondering what experience the other panelists have had with working on a post-disaster recovery plan to build back better, and what suggestions you might offer to those that are considering that.
Steve can go first.
Well, I would certainly say one thing: take advantage of a good disaster. In that regard, we probably would not have been able to have gotten the building codes revised as we did without having that disaster. It does cost more to build the homes. It's a higher wind speed standard for the framing code, and so I'm told at least the first city in the nation to adopt a code specifically designed for tornadoes in terms of the framing structure of a home. In terms of that, if you're doing it pre-disaster, you're going to have a difficult time, frankly, with the building community, the contractors, and in our metropolitan area particularly, we're the only city that has this in our code, so it's another $1 or $2 a square foot to build a house in our community versus the city of Oklahoma City or the city of Norman. We obviously think that's worth it, and we did it, and our city council approved it unanimously just about a year after our tornado. But it's a difficult thing to do, public education and that sort of thing, but it comes down to dollars, as most things do. And there will be resistance, but take advantage of it if you can do it. It's probably something that's going to have to be federally led or at least state led on states to require these code improvements.
We had that same debate ourselves among the city, and it's true. You do get some pushback from the builders if it adds too much cost to the home. What we did is try to find a balance. We changed our code to install hurricane clips, also reinforce the footings and tie the wall system to the roof system. Because typically in a tornado, the roof comes up from the upforce and everything else falls in. So nothing can, you can build a home to survive an EF5 tornado, but that wouldn't be affordable to anyone.
Or a tractor.
Right. But there are some simple things you can do to reinforce your building code.
The best advice I can give you in creating a post-recovery plan is to engage your citizens. Following the tornado, we waited till day 8. We intentionally waited to get through the 7 days after the tornado. And then we announced the Tuscaloosa Forward Steering Committee, which ultimately formed the Tuscaloosa Forward Plan. By the way, the operational team was formed the night of the tornado. So RIC activated the rebuilding plan the night of the tornado, although we did not go public with that until day 8. So you should always begin thinking about moving forward. Ultimately, the Tuscaloosa Forward Plan had 36 town hall meetings within 2 months. We had tens of thousands of people come to those meetings. We had tens of thousands go to a virtual town hall website that we created. And from all that, by September, we created an infrastructure zoning comprehensive rebuilding plan that had many elements of it that were controversial. We are a southern city. We are conservative too. And when you talk about expanding zoning regulations, building materials, and things of that nature, improving housing standards to withstand certain wind loads, it can be controversial. But a funny thing happened along the way. The people demanded change. And when people demand change, their elected leaders generally mirror the will of their constituents. And so that was able to make that happen. A couple other small things. I know we're up against the clock. Number one, never let a consultant put an architectural rendering out there until you approved it. Yes. Manage expectations. Manage expectations. Architectural renderings will be used and held against you for the remainder of your public career. So just remember that, because it's there are expectations, you have to manage that through the process. So the last thing I'll say is when you look and when you do a deep dive into our data from April 27th, the vast majority of the 53 people that died out of 5,300 structures impacted, so we're talking about 1%, were in housing built before 1970. So everything, that was before the city had building codes. The city did not adopt building codes to 1972. So everything that we've been told in tornado-stricken communities about go to that safe place in your house, even in housing that may not have been built to codes, can save your life. So to me, that's very encouraging for all of us that live under the threats of devastating tornadoes. So certainly, the advanced warning and all those things can come into play and actually may be geared more towards life-saving than even increasing the building standards. And certainly, again, that gets to the science of response and recovery. Thank you.